Imagine this is the book of motion. Now, what commonly happens is someone will take a page, maybe a few pages, sometimes a chapter, even a few chapters if they really try hard, and they'll rip it out of the book and they'll go and present it as the truth or the whole story. And as you know, there's going to be some truth to the messages because those excerpts are part of the story. But you can imagine that without every page and reading the entire story, without having the whole book, no matter what you say, you're going to be missing some pieces, even if it echoes of truth in the tiny bits that you take away and share as the whole story or as the full truth. Now, this again is what commonly happens in the industry. And it could be viewed as a negative thing. However, if you shift your perspective, you can imagine that it acts as like an advertisement or a trailer for the movie. Because no matter what, everyone's on their own journey. Eventually, no matter how boring someone is, they're going to get tired of reading the one page that they ripped from the book. And it's going to be missing a lot of pieces. Eventually, even if you took a few pages, you'll eventually get bored of that and it'll stop yielding results. You have to be very creative to keep that like giving you results for a long time, but eventually it's going to wear out. It's not going to be the whole story. Chapter, right? People that take a little more from the book, from the story, it'll give you more to play with for longer, but eventually it'll be like, but it stops here. And I want to know what happens all through here to see where it goes. And again, a few chapters, more things to play with. But again, it's going to end up leaving you in want if you really want to find out the whole story of the Book of Motion. Now, this actually echoes in the sphere of coaching. If you view the same thing as whatever people get from the book when they close it and stop reading, or whatever page they rip out and think that they have the answer, it's like they earn what their natural level of function dictates, right? They only get what they deserve, right? If you view it sort of like football, this is the same modality as the training sphere. You have Pop Warner coaches and youth coaches. You have the high school coaches. You have the rep coaches. You have the college coaches. You have the semi-pro coaches, and you have the pro coaches. When you look at it like that, that's the same way with trainers. Some people are great for foundations, entry level, like a youth coach. They really teach you the basics and show you how to have fun. And then once you go up and you get to the next level, say you're in high school or in the rep leagues, now you're getting more responsibility. You're learning more, and you're learning more about how the game moves. So then it changes, etc., etc. College, you're learning more. You're learning to take care of yourself. You're learning more about nutrition and lifting and all these other things that you have to do as your own homework to maintain your ability in the game. And then the pros, the expectations just go up, as does the complexity, the advancement, and the difficulty. This is like the coaching journey. So what the people do when they take one page or a few pages, a chapter, a few chapters, is that it actually acts as a free running advertisement for the whole book, for the whole story. It's like a movie trailer. It might give you enough of the truth and enough of the story to actually, if you're a learner, be more excited to go and watch the whole movie. So it's really not a threat to the overall landscape of the game and people's abilities, because naturally, instinctively, people want to learn. And then you rise through the levels, and some people, they just settle. This is where the masses are. Most people settle at like the one page, right? Entry level, level one. They go to the gym, maybe get a personal trainer, and they're happy to do that, so they stay at that level. And then, as we know, kind of like football, there's the most youth players. And then what happens is as you go in and go up, the numbers go down and down and down as you refine to the pro level. So you'd imagine in a healthy mechanism, the pro coach is going to be able to teach you the most of the game, but a lot of times they don't want to waste time with the basics because they have objectives that they want to reach. It's very rare, and there's some that do exist, is that they could teach you all the different levels of development. But because it's a rarity, most function in the way that they do. And then people naturally graduate through them. So the reason I'm sharing this message is for people not to have guilt or shame or regret about the different modalities and systems and learning levels that they've graduated through. It's like you're rising through the ranks of fitness like a pro football league. And you go in from youth with the basics, and then you go into the high school level and the rep leagues in college and etc. Right? That's like going through the different systems and tools. And the people that's all they can learn and that's all they can handle for their level, then they naturally settle in where they belong. And they'll just stick with the system. And the system might be more advanced than the entry-level stuff, but it's still not the pros, and that's where they be at. But there's some people that they want to rise all the way through the pro level and keep learning, keep evolving, and keep growing. This is like the whole story. And these people, they want to glean from every single page so that they get a full picture, so that they understand more of the whole experience. To where, again, you could learn a lot from a page, a few pages, a chapter, a few chapters, even half the book. But it's never going to be the full story. But some people are okay with that, and that's fine. It's part of the process. They naturally etch in at the level that they belong based on their skill level, based on their willingness to learn, and earning it, because it takes earning it to keep rising through the levels. But just understand that there are levels to the stuff, and no matter what, whatever little bit you got, there's always going to be truth in the message. And that's often how it's presented, as this is the whole truth. This one page tells the whole story. But as we know from common sense, you need the whole story if you actually want to understand all the different things that are going on. Because even if the pages that you take have a good summary of what one could glean, hey, this is probably the bones of the story, there's a lot of nuances and variables and builds and changes and unexpected twists and turns that make it so that by the time that you're at the end of the story, you're better for it because you read all the pages. This is like the pro level and beyond continued learning. And some people seek this out, and they're not wrong in doing so. Just as well as the other people, if they only ever made it to high school football level and that was their level, that's fine. That's where they settled. That's life. But as we know, people are like nature, and there's levels to it, and there's different rungs and levels of function, and that's just the way that it is. So the journey is like the book, right? The book of motion. And it's like you have to earn the knowledge at every page, at every level. And based on what you can do, if you settle, you become a gatekeeper for that level, for that page, for that chapter. Totally fine. But the part that is not enjoyable is when the gatekeepers try to block the people from reading the rest of the story because they were unwilling to do what it took to get there, or they just didn't have what it takes. The whole paradigm functions well and needs entry-level coaches and high school level coaches, even rep coaches, and they need college coaches and even semi-pro and pro.